Eagle County in west central Michigan, Muskegon County in west central Michigan, southern Oceana County in west central Michigan, until 3:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 2:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm was located 11 miles west of Montague, or 18 miles northwest of Muskegon, moving east at 60 miles per hour. Hazard, 60 miles per hour wind gusts. Source, radar indicated. Impact, expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Muskegon, New Eagle, Muskegon Heights, Fremont, Roosevelt Park, North Muskegon.
We can see the shelf cloud
Savannah,
here.
Fruitport,
Okay, this is our
Grant,
gust
Northern
front.
Shores,
And oh
Dalton,
my,
Holton,
this is one of the most well-defined shelf clouds I have ever seen.
Cazenovia. For your protection,
Oh
move to an
my
interior
goodness.
room on the lowest floor of a building.
Very well-defined shelf cloud. Again, these are destructive storms, life-threatening storms for Kent County. Would not be surprised to see destructive tags severe thunderstorm warning come across the pipeline here. We have a destructive tag severe thunderstorm warning coming in. So this is a life-threatening situation. 97 miles per hour. Okay? Oceana Shores, Grand Beach, New Buffalo. You guys need to get in the basement. Destructive tag severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Kent County. This is a life-threatening situation for the Metro Grand Rapids area.
Hello everyone, West Michigan weather here. We are going live for storm chase on this February 27th.
Measured a wind gust of 145 miles per hour, 145 miles per hour wind.
Barely see the lights on the tower. Some really white-out conditions here. All right, good evening, West Michigan. We are going live sort of unexpectedly here. Things are starting to ramp up a little bit faster than I thought they would. Let me just go ahead and make sure the audio is working here, and then we will get started. Hey, Owen, I'm live, just FYI. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Berrien County, for the vast majority of Berrien County here, with the exception of the far eastern little sliver here, far eastern sliver of Berrien County there, including Niles and the eastern portion of Bertrand in Berrien County. Everywhere else in Berrien County, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning for the next 48 minutes, so until 8 p.m. this evening. Hazards here are going to be 60 mile per hour wind gusts, as well as the potential for a tornado. Let's go ahead and let me show you guys a quick graphic here so that we can sort of explain. So this is a standard warning. So we're looking at damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. as well as hail that is less than 1 inch in diameter. However, we also have that tornado possible tag added on there at the bottom of your screen there. So this, while not immediately likely, this storm complex that is moving into the area here has a history of tornadic activity across portions of Indiana and Illinois, and that is now moving into Berrien County. So that is the reason for that tag. And again, while not immediately likely, that means that this severe thunderstorm could produce a tornado with little to no warning. So you need to be alert, remain alert for rapidly changing conditions, remain alert for a tornado warning. Obviously, if you spot a tornado, you definitely want to be moving to a safe location, an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. My biggest area of concern is going to be this area right here of increased reflectivity. We could see some hail starting to approach that 1 inch mark within that area. And again, these storms are moving off to the northeast at about 45 miles an hour. So if you're, especially if you're in west central Berrien County, be on the lookout for some maybe half inch to the approaching the 1 inch mark for hail there. And then the other thing we're going to have to watch for again is the wind threat here. Let's go ahead and flip over to velocity, take a look at the winds inside of this storm. And there's going to be a couple areas to watch. The first is going to be anywhere where these brighter colors are starting to approach that 50-55 mile per hour mark. So any of those brighter greens to blues. I'm not seeing any of these brighter reds that are immediately concerning. But the other area we're going to have to watch is this right in here, where these reds and greens are meeting. And I'm not seeing anything that immediately grabs my eye. Concerns for an immediate tornado, an imminent tornado. But again, these storms, this complex of storms that is moving into the area here, has a history of producing tornadoes across northern Indiana and northwest Illinois. So we do need to keep an eye on that. And so anywhere where we're starting to see these reds and greens sort of converge, we'll need to keep a close eye on those. Again, I'm not seeing anything that is immediately concerning at this point, but it is something we are going to watch nonetheless. So we will just put the radar in motion here over the last 15 or 20 minutes or so, and we will watch as these storms move into Berrien County here. And again, these storms are moving northeast at about 45 miles an hour. Actually, that's a good idea. Let me put a forecast cone on this. Oops, that's the wrong tool. Put a forecast cone on this, and we can get some of the cities here. Obviously, this is a much bigger complex of storms, but for the area that we were more concerned about, hail, and then those tornado areas we were watching out for right in this area, pretty close to that as well. Aaron, 70 mile per hour wind gust in northeast Indiana, Michiana. All right, let me turn storm reports back on, but let me quickly go through this. So we're looking at New Troy and Bridgman in about a half hour. And then Stevensville, 35 minutes, Shoreham, 38 minutes, St. Joseph in about 40 minutes, and we'll see Benton Harbor and Berrien Springs impacted in about 40 to 45 minutes. So, again, you've got a little bit of time here, but these are moving pretty quick. You can see how fast those are translating across your screen there. Let's turn storm reports back on. And see if we can see those wind reports. Oops. Not seeing anything for Michiana. Let me check product feeds here as well. Not seeing any official reports coming in for that area, but certainly possible nonetheless. Again, we're kind of in a radar hole here across southwest Michigan there, so we're not getting the best look at velocities, but Michiana is right in here. So that's Michiana Shores. Michiana is right in there. And then these brighter colors, these brighter greens and blues, are what we've been keeping an eye on, and really not seeing anything super concerning. But again, the radar is quite far away. The radar is all the way over here. Let's get a distance on that. So almost 70 miles away. So this radar is scanning 70 miles away. And so we're scanning kind of the middle, the top of the storm there, not really getting an accurate reading of what's happening down at the surface. So any buoy reports we get in here, any lakeshore weather stations, mesonet, what we call them, anything in there will give us a good idea of what to expect in terms of wind there. Right now, the Weather Service just has us warned for 60 mile per hour winds. It's not to say there couldn't be something higher. Mixed in there, our shear, which is winds, is very strong tonight. We have a lot of speed shear in the area. As the system moves through, we've got like 60, 70 knot winds up above the surface and into the mid levels of the atmosphere. So it is certainly possible that we see those mixing down to the surface. So we're just going to need to continue to watch as these storms come in. Yeah, and still not seeing any super eye-catching areas for rotation there. This latest scan, pretty similar. What I'm going to be watching for is right there and right there for the potential for rotation. Again, no immediate concerns based off those radar images, but the this storm complex has a history of producing tornadoes and tornado warnings across northern Indiana and northern Illinois, for those of you who are just tuning in. So Grand Beach and Michiana Shores. Michiana, you guys are almost out of time here. So you are under that severe thunderstorm warning, so go ahead and move to your safe place, get indoors. We're not talking about tornado precautions here yet, but move indoors, stay away from windows. Of course, any reports of hail or winds in this area would be appreciated. So if you're watching from Berrien County there, especially along the lakeshore, if you get any sort of wind damage or if you see hail, obviously if you see a tornado, let us know in the chat here. We'd definitely appreciate that. Let's take a zoom out here and take a look at this new special marine warning that was just issued as well. So this is for nearshore and open waters from Holland south. And this will give us an idea of what is coming our way. So wind gusts to 40 knots. So that's going to be about 45 to maybe 50 miles an hour with this complex of storms that's just a little bit further north of our main concern right now. So that's going to be, let's flip to reflectivity. So that's going to be this area. So even though, where did that go? Right in here. So even though this area is not as impressive in terms of reflectivity, so we're less worried about hail, it could still contain some gusty winds. And then if you're up near Muskegon, obviously we have some thunderstorms and heavy rain moving onshore here. Not really seeing anything concerning for areas north of Muskegon in terms of wind or tornado potential, but you could have some small hail, heavy rain and small hail, particularly mixed within this core here, and that's transitioning off towards Lakewood Club and maybe Whitehall. It might be a little bit more due north than that first line there, so you could have some heavy rain and small hail moving up into that region as well. but over the last couple of frames, that is becoming less of a concern as well. So we will continue to focus down here where this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. Again, that's in effect until 8 p.m. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, as well as the threat for a possible tornado. This complex that's moving into the area has a history of producing tornadoes and tornado warnings across northern Illinois and northern Indiana this afternoon and into the evening. So we will continue to keep an eye on that potential as well. Right. Take a look at these wind readings here. Oh, there's another good scan. Right, so this would be something to watch here if this continues over the next couple of frames, as well as this in here. Again, nothing immediately jumps out at me like, yes, there's a tornado there, but certainly some areas of rotation or convergence, possibly divergence there being shown on radar. So no immediate tornado threat, but again, that tornado possible tag is on that severe thunderstorm warning, so we could see a tornado develop very quickly with this complex of storms as it moves onshore here. So So we were talking about hail a little bit ago, really in this area here. We're seeing less of those pink colors, pinks and purples. We've got a little bit of an area there still out towards mid-lake, but a lot less of those pink and purple colors closer to the shore to where they could be moving onshore and starting to impact people here in Berrien County. So hail is becoming less of a concern. And again, that's going to be the general overall trend for these storms tonight. They're on a weakening trend. The environment was fairly favorable over in this area here today. But now as they move northeast and they're going out over the very cold Lake Michigan waters and coming into an area with less moisture over land and southwest Michigan here, these storms are on a weakening trend. And we see that in the lightning activity. They're producing less lightning than they have been over the last couple of hours. And we're starting to see that in the reflectivity as well. So while there is still a severe threat this evening, and we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Berrien County here, my concerns are not as high as they normally would be with this type of event, just given the lack of a favorable environment over here on this side of Lake Michigan. Looking for any reports that are coming in as well during this time. Right. Well, we have a minute here. Let's talk about this pink box here. These pink boxes for Van Buren, Kalamazoo, Calhoun, Jackson, Hillsdale, Branch, St. Joseph, Cass, and Berrien County. This is a severe thunderstorm watch. So if you're in these pink boxes here, and let me throw some more cities up. If you see your city's name here in this pink box, in any of these pink boxes, you are under a severe thunderstorm watch. until 1 a.m. Thursday morning. And so this severe thunderstorm watch includes the threats for scattered damaging wind gusts and isolated significant gusts up to 75 miles per hour possible, as well as the possibility for a tornado or two. If we take a look at our probabilities here, our overall threat for a tornado is low. The threat for a significant tornado is low at 5%. And our overall wind threat is moderate or medium at 50%. The risk for significant wind gusts over 75 miles an hour is at 30%. And our hail threat, as well as the risk for significant hail over 2 inches, is at about 10%. So this is the risk for at least one of these instances, one of these reports to occur within the severe thunderstorm watch area, for an overall combined severe hazard risk of medium or moderate at 60%. And we'll actually probably leave this many cities up here, but I will make them a little bit larger for you guys so that you can see. There we go, that's a little better. All right. So our first little fringe of our complex of storms here is now intruding into Berrien County. So New Buffalo, you're starting to get some rain. Expect that to intensify here over the next several minutes. And again, for the rest of Berrien County here, this is going to continue to translate up into the rest of Berrien County, bringing some, at the least, some heavy rain and some lightning into the area, if not some small hail and some gusty winds, possibly damaging winds to 60 miles an hour. Checking on our Muskegon storms here. A lot less lightning activity here. We can see all the fading lightning and the less white solid bolts of lightning. So lightning activity is fading here with our Muskegon cell, but still some potential for some heavier rain and small hail, again, as this translates off to the northeast into Whitehall, up towards Shelby and the M20 corridor there. So if you're watching in the Muskegon, Whitehall, Holton area, if you're up near Shelby, expect to be getting some rain here in the next several minutes to about a half hour or so. If you get any hail or gusty winds, we'd obviously appreciate those reports as well. You can throw those in our live chat here, and we will be very much appreciative of those. Again, same thing applies for you guys down here in Berrien County. If you're watching down here in Berrien County, any reports you have, any photos or anything like that, feel free to send them our way, either in the live stream chat here, or you can send them directly to us on any of our social media accounts. We would definitely appreciate all of those. Right, no real changes to our severe thunderstorm warning there. They did update it a little bit. They just trimmed off the western extent of that warning. So no changes for us locally here. Still not seeing any storm reports coming out of the area, so that's good. Take a look at velocity again. Alright, so winds with this system, again, down near New Buffalo, we're looking up in the mid-levels here. And honestly, these are pretty lackluster, and I would somewhat expect to see some higher wind gusts up in the higher levels of the storm here, because that's where those more significant winds, right? We were talking about those 60, 70 knot winds aloft that are really driving the overall system that's prompting these thunderstorms. So I would expect to be seeing some higher winds here. So this is just telling me that this is not a huge threat. I'm not overly concerned about this complex of storms as it moves into the area here. We're seeing some 40, we got 50 there, just south of New Buffalo there, on the east side of New Buffalo there. We've got a 50-mile-an-hour radar indicated wind speed there. But again, this is pretty lackluster, and I'm not seeing any areas that immediately jump out at me as tornadic. Again, we're watching for areas of bright greens against bright reds. And we do have some areas here where there's some green on red, but there's not any bright colors in there. There's no super bright colors. So more than likely what we're looking at here is either convergence or divergence. Maybe some weak rotation, but overall just not anything super concerning here. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning is obviously in effect, so continue to take those severe weather precautions, right? Indoors, away from windows, maybe on the lowest floor. You don't need to be in a storm shelter or anything yet, but indoors, away from windows. There's going to be plenty of lightning and heavy rain regardless. And of course, lightning is very dangerous, so head indoors. Really, this is largely staying offshore, which of course is good news. Yeah, they're really just surging north. They were kind of moving like this, and then right as they got to about there, this part of the storm really just took this turn off to the north and it started pushing more north. Of course, it is still going to encroach here in Berrien County, but it is moving a lot more northward than it is northeasterly at this point. We can see really right there, there's a big surge, big push north of a lot of that higher reflectivity there. But so heavy rain, gusty winds, and lightning moving into a lot of Berrien County here over the next 20 or so minutes. And sorry guys, just pulling up some additional resources here. Sorry about that. Right, so these storms are now moving up along the I-94 corridor, so Three Oaks. You're about to see some heavier precipitation here. Same thing with Bridgman and Stevensville, Shoreham. As far north as Benton Harbor. Hey Bree, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. No real change to our storms up here in northern Muskegon County, approaching the Whitehall area there along US 31. Expect to see some heavier precipitation there, maybe some small hail anywhere we're seeing that cluster of pink colors in there. We could see some small hail, but again, no real concerns there with wind or hail. But of course, if you get any of those things occurring up there, we'd love to hear about that. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Cass County. Oh, that's Cass County, Indiana. That's down here. Thought that was Cass County, Michigan. Good, glad to hear it. Bree says there's nothing too crazy happening yet. And again, just to reiterate, this complex of storms that we're watching here, this Boeing line of storms as it moves northeast into southwest Michigan here, is going to be on a weakening trend. Oh, and there is a new tornado warning coming out somewhere. That's way down here in Indianapolis, or approaching Indianapolis, I should say. But this line of storms that we're tracking moving into southwest Michigan is on a weakening trend. It's moving into a less favorable environment. It's going to start to be dealing with the effects of the sun setting, and we're losing that daytime heating. So overall, the environment here is less supportive of sustaining a severe weather threat. And that's going to be the trend as these storms continue to push into southern Michigan here. Honestly, if it were me, and again, no hate here towards the National Weather Service. They're brilliant minds. If it were me at a watch or warning desk this evening, I would have been a little bit hesitant to issue a severe thunderstorm watch for Michigan. And certainly with the eastern extent of this, like Jackson and Hillsdale, including Jackson, Hillsdale, Branch, Calhoun County, and that severe thunderstorm watch, especially seeing how much of a northerly track these are taking, I would have been a little bit. I'm surprised to see these watches here, to say the least. But again, they are there nonetheless, so take them seriously. The brilliant minds at the Storm Prediction Center have a lot more experience, a lot more education on severe thunderstorms than I do, but those are just my personal thoughts. And again, there's no areas of reflectivity here with the exception of maybe right in there that I'm concerned about hail potential. So you're just looking at heavy rain here for Berrien County. No concerns with hail. Let's take a look at velocity here. And again, not seeing any super concerning winds here. We're still getting some 40, 45, maybe 50 mile an hour winds here. But again, the radar site is way back here, down here in northern Indiana, near Warsaw, to the northwest of Fort Wayne, if you guys know where Fort Wayne, Indiana is. If you're familiar with that area, it's northwest of there. So we're scanning this storm 60, 70, 75, 80 miles away from that radar site. And the radar beam, because of the curvature of the Earth, right, the radar beam can't go straight across the ground. The Earth curves, and so that beam, as it goes further and further away from that radar site, it is scanning higher and higher in the storm. And so here we're looking really at the mid to upper levels of this thunderstorm, and with the wind profiles the way they are today, I would expect to see, if anything, higher winds up higher in the atmosphere and lower winds down towards the surface where they're struggling to mix down to the surface. And that is sort of the opposite of what I'm seeing here. There's lackluster winds up in the mid-levels, upper levels of the storm. So again, is a little bit baffling to me. Why there is still a warning on this. But of course, again, the meteorologists sitting at that desk have a lot more experience than I do, so we're going to trust them over me. But yeah, no changes to this severe thunderstorm warning still. This remains in effect for about the next 15 minutes until 8 o'clock local time for all of Berrien County here. We have not seen an extension of the warning or additional warning being issued for either Van Buren or Cass counties here. So for now, Dowagiac, Paw Paw, Covert, South Haven, you guys are in the clear for the immediate future. New Buffalo, Bridgman, Shoreham, Benton Harbor, Buchanan, you guys are all still under that severe thunderstorm warning. Berrien Springs, Lake Michigan Beach, Waterville, you guys are under that severe thunderstorm warning until 8 o'clock for 60-mile-per-hour winds and the possibility of a tornado. If I had to guess, kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier, just given the tornadic history of this storm, that is probably the main reason for this severe thunderstorm warning and why that tornado possible tag exists. Just given the history of this thunderstorm producing tornadoes and producing areas of rotation across northern Illinois and northern Indiana this evening. So that could certainly still happen here. I don't see any immediate areas that are concerning still, but we are keeping an eye on things, right? Anywhere we start to see brighter greens and brighter reds close together, right here we have some dull greens and some dull reds next to each other. Anywhere we start to see bright greens, bright blues next to bright reds and oranges, those would be where winds are traveling very fast in opposite directions, very close to each other. And that's what we look for when we're looking for rotation. So that would be my presumption as to why there's a severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag, just out of an abundance of caution. Again, no imminent tornado threat, but of course one could develop. So and that severe thunderstorm watch for all those counties and those pink boxes is in effect until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning, 1 a.m. Thursday morning. Let me pull this up on my phone quickly. We are going to quickly step away for just a second. I'm going to throw a screen up, but I will keep an eye on my phone. I just need to grab a water, so... apologize for that. Bree says the wind is picking up here in Rockford. Yeah, expect to see the winds increase tonight. There is a wind advisory. Let me throw that up quickly here too while nothing immediate is happening. There is a wind advisory in effect. Turn off the severe thunderstorm watch briefly. There is a wind advisory in effect for Van Buren, Allegan, Ottawa, Muskegon, Lake Mason, Oceana, Newaygo, and Mecosta counties until 2 p.m. Eastern Time Thursday. We are expecting to see some winds increase. Fairly widespread. We'll see gusts up to 30, 40 miles an hour. In these counties shaded in this brown tan color here, we could see winds gust up to 50 miles an hour. So that is the reason for the wind advisory. So through tomorrow afternoon, through early tomorrow afternoon, we could definitely see stronger winds, and those will obviously increase tonight. So pause this loop here. Keeping a close eye on this and a close eye on this area as well. Again, we're looking for brighter colors next to brighter colors, but anytime I see the two different wind directions next to each other, I always pay more attention to those areas. So, and let's take a look at relative velocity here. Looks pretty similar. Yeah, so keeping an eye on that area, and then again maybe up there near Baroda as well. But that area in the blue circle, which looks a lot better on this latest scan, a lot less concerning is what I mean by better, is something we're keeping an eye on. Again, if you're down here in Berrien County and you're getting any reports, or if you're experiencing any gusty winds or small hail, we definitely appreciate getting those reports. You can send those in the live stream chat here as well, or at westmichiganweather.net/report. You can send those to us there as well. We definitely appreciate getting those reports. Again, biggest area of concern, at least right now, is going to be with rotation, and the concern is low, but it is non-zero for this area right in here to the southwest of Berrien Springs there, northwest of Buchanan. Again, there is not really any rotation here, but we are keeping an eye on this area where those reds and green colors are coming together. Those green colors are indicating winds moving towards the radar site, and those red colors are indicating winds moving away from the radar site. And when we see those two wind directions next to each other, we worry a little bit about rotation, especially when those are bright colors. So here we have fairly dull or light colors, but it is certainly something we are keeping an eye on. Have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let me just make sure that's not anything local. Doesn't appear that it is. Oh, they're trimming the tornado watch. Gotcha. All right, very good. We will continue to focus on our storm here. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. This includes the remainder of Berrien County, as well as portions of Cass County, so Dowagiac, Polkagon, Cassopolis, Bolina, Edwardsburg. You guys are now under a severe thunderstorm warning. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 8:30 p.m. local time. A severe thunderstorm was located along a line extending from near St. Joseph to near Berrien Springs, so that's that complex of storms we've been tracking, and it's moving northeast at 55 miles an hour with the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. This also has the tornado possible tag on it. Remain alert for a possible tornado. So while this is not immediately likely, this tag means that a tornado can develop quickly from a severe thunderstorm, and you need to be alert. You need to be prepared to go at once into a basement or a small central room. So you need to be prepared to take those tornado precautions if you spot a tornado. And again, the fact that they continue to add on this tornado possible tag really just solidifies that for me, that is their primary concern with this complex of storms. So no immediate tornado threat, but just given the history and the continued weak signatures we're seeing with this complex of storms just north of US 12 here, is probably the reason they're continuing with these severe thunderstorm warnings with the tornado possible tag. It is certainly not an immediate threat, but there are some signs that this storm is continuing to attempt to rotate. So we're going to continue to track this. And again, this new severe thunderstorm warning, this remains in effect until 8:30 p.m. local time. Yeah, so this area here is something we're really going to pay attention to over the next several minutes. Just to the south of Berrien Springs here, right along US 31 there, south of Pennellwood and south of Berrien Springs, coming up to M139 and M140. Again, we're looking for bright colors here, and I'm not seeing any bright colors, but we're starting to see these green winds really start to infringe on those red winds. And again, that is indicating that there are winds moving in different directions at very close range, and the radar is picking up on that. And so that area there, we're going to have to continue to watch pretty close. The GRR radar site, the radar site in Grand Rapids, not giving me any huge concerns. And yeah, this is becoming a little bit more concerning here. We're starting to see some of these brighter colors starting to dip into those yellows and oranges. Oh, and of course, just as I say that, we get a new radar scan, and things return to very underwhelming, very unconcerning in all aspects. And so what this storm is doing, this is cycling. This storm is cycling, and it's attempting to rotate. And when it strengthens, as we just saw, we can start to have a few scans where maybe there's some concern there, and then it dies right back down. So I think the tornado possible tag is covering this threat pretty well. Yeah, and there's never really been a lot of confidence here to issue a tornado warning. And I'm not seeing any severe hazards that are super concerning. So just updating the tornado watch where that is flashing in white there. That's what that alert sound was. And again, this latest velocity scan here, it's still showing some convergence or divergence, maybe some weak rotation. Just the closeness of these reds and greens is something to continue to watch. Here near Berrien Springs, now east of Berrien Springs, south of Berrien Center, there is our primary concern here. Again, it's not immediately concerning, but it's continuing to persist here, and so this is something to watch. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Van Buren County as well. 60-mile-per-hour winds. National Weather Service in Grand Rapids has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Van Buren County in southwestern Michigan. That's in effect until 9 p.m. local time. Hazard here is going to be 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So South Haven, Decatur, Glendale, Gobles, the South Haven Airport, Paw Paw, Bloomingdale, Bangor, Keeler, Matawan. You guys are now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock local time. Sorry guys, let me mute this here a second. Just want to share this to the relevant counties here that are under these severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, I don't have a ton of immediate concerns with either hail, tornadoes, or wind. Maybe wind is increasing a little bit here. We're starting to see some winds upwards of that 55-mile-an-hour mark again. And as these storms approach the Grand Rapids radar site, let's take a look at this as well. Seeing what the Grand Rapids radar is showing. Yeah. So again, we don't have the best radar coverage here, but we're starting to see those upper level winds at higher magnitude that I was talking about. So we're starting to see some 70s there, almost 75 miles an hour there, indicated in the upper levels of the storm there to the east of Shoreham and Benton Harbor. Whether or not those are mixing down to the surface is unknown, but we do have those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the rotation, right? This Berrien and Cass County severe thunderstorm warning has an area of rotation there near Berrien Springs that we've been tracking, and it's been cycling, and now we're starting to see some wind gusts, some velocities on radar that are approaching the 60, even 70 mile an hour mark. So it is possible that those are mixing down to the surface. So we're just going to continue to track this over the next several minutes here as these storms continue to push into far southwest Michigan across Berrien, Cass, and Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren counties. So again, if you're just now tuning in, we have severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect for Van Buren, as well as portions of Berrien County and Cass County in far southwest Michigan until 8:30 and 9 o'clock respectively. So our Van Buren County warning is in effect until 9 p.m., Berrien and Cass County until 8:30 p.m., 60 mile per hour winds, as well as the potential for a brief tornado for Berrien and Cass counties, and then 60 mile per hour wind gusts for Van Buren County. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for those areas. Melissa, I just want a good storm. I live in Montcalm County. I feel you there. I could definitely go for a good thunderstorm right about now. So if you're just tuning in, make sure that you're following us here on whatever social media platform that you're watching us on. I see we've got several people watching on YouTube, just over a dozen there on Facebook, and 50 to 70 people there on Twitter. Our counts are fluctuating a little bit, but Aaron wants to know, is there a tornado on the ground near Berrien Springs? We've had no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground, but this area right here is something that we've been watching as it has translated off to the northeast here. So the storm has been moving off to the northeast, and we've been tracking it, and this area has been persistently showing a little bit more concerning characteristics for the potential for a rotating thunderstorm or maybe even a tornado. Not anything that I would say, yes, there is a tornado on the ground right there. Nothing like that as of yet, but definitely an area that we've been keeping the most eye on over the last hour or so. And we will continue to do so for the next hour or so, as long as these severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. It looks like we may have a new... Oh, maybe not. I thought that was a new special marine warning, but it is not. Take a look at winds from the Grand Rapids radar site there. And this gets to be a little confusing, but still, this area right here is showing some rotation. And then looking at the particular wind speeds, we're seeing some winds, get over 60, even over 70, approaching 80. We've got radar indicated winds way up towards the top of the storm there between Dowagiac and Berrien Springs and Eau Claire. along M62 over 80 miles an hour there. The odds of those mixing down to the surface are pretty much a zero, but some very strong winds aloft with this thunderstorm complex as it moves in to southwest Michigan here. It really starts to get into the heart of Cass and southern Van Buren County there. So Dowagiac, Pawpaw, Decatur, Keeler, Watervliet, Alpena even, Lawrence, Volhynia, you guys are under the gun for some potentially severe damaging wind gust and perhaps a brief tornado. Jennifer Moulter, you're in Dowagiac with lots of lightning. Yep, that sounds about right. You guys are about to get hit with the brunt of the gust front. Actually, probably just got hit with a gust front as I'm speaking here. Radar data is always a little bit delayed. I imagine you guys are getting some heavy rain there. Let's take a look at reflectivity. Looks like you guys are missing the area of highest reflectivity, the area of highest rain, and perhaps the potential for some small hail there just due south of Keeler. But you guys are definitely getting some rain, maybe some gusty winds. If you've got any wind damage there, let us know here in the comments. We definitely appreciate hearing about that. Make sure you're doing it safely. Obviously, wait until the storm has passed. But if you have any damage or some small hail maybe, we'd like to know about that, obviously. Let's see, that alert noise is just updating these tornado and severe thunderstorm watches down here to our south. So no cause for alarm there. Let's take a look back at velocity. Again, velocity is what I'm most worried about here. And in terms of rotation, it looks a lot better. But this gust front, and this will be, when we talk about a gust front, that's our leading edge of the storms. This is where a shelf cloud would be if there's a shelf cloud with this complex of storms. But that gust front is still continuing to show some winds that are definitely of severe criteria. We've got some 60s there. I'm not seeing as much as those 80s anymore, but let's take a look at the Grand Rapids site and see what that says. 70s. Yeah, still seeing some 70s in there. Oh, there is another pocket of 80s there. And again, the odds of those mixing down to the surface are very low, but it is just showing the strength of the overall system that is driving this. So we will still not seeing any reports coming in out of that area, but we are going to continue to watch this. Just looking for reports. We got a couple of reports coming out of Indiana, Cass County, Indiana, and LaPorte County, Indiana, for some wind damage. Trees down, power lines down. But no local reports here in Michigan. Yeah, as this low-level jet, and again, that's just a fancy term for the system driving this complex of storms. That is not anything local. That's a new tornado warning down here south of Indianapolis near Bloomington, Indiana. But this low-level jet is really starting to crank. Seeing lightning in Lawton, Michigan. Wow, that was a tongue twister and a half. Jarrett says, yeah, for sure. Sounds about right. If you're getting any hail or wind down there, please let us know. Rhonda says, dang storms are going to interrupt Survivor on TV. Yeah, but those weather alerts are important, right? They're keeping people safe. But yeah, we get that's frustrating. Right. Yeah. This gust front is really starting to show. Some intense winds here. On the Grand Rapids radar site. I'm not seeing anything that's super concerning on the northern Indiana radar site. We did see a 60 in there. Zoom in and see if we can find that. There's 58. So maybe some 60 to perhaps 70 mile per hour winds, but more than likely we're looking at the 40 to 50 mile per hour range here. That still looks really intense, but again, we're scanning the very tops of these storms here at this range. Radar's way up here, southeast Grand Rapids, near the Gerald R. Ford Airport. On the Gerald R. Ford Airport campus, actually, on the airport. And so that's scanning all the way down here into far southwest Michigan. So we're looking at the very tops of those storms. But rotation looks a little bit less concerning again with this latest velocity scan, but we're continuing to keep an eye on the southeastern flank of this line here. That's where I would anticipate if there was a little bit of a sneaky tornado threat, I would think that would be where it's at. So we're going to continue to watch that. We are in White Oaks and Lawton. Just kidding about Survivor. Yeah, thanks, Rhonda. Again, if you get any hail or wind damage or whatever there in White Oaks, Lawton area, let us know. Let me just see where Lawton is. I'm not super familiar with this area here. Okay, so Lawton's southwest Van Buren County, or southeast Van Buren County, I should say. So you've got a little bit of time there before the storms start to impact you and Jarrett. You guys are probably seeing lightning and hearing thunder in that area already, but you've got a few minutes before the worst of it hits. And they did update this severe thunderstorm warning. They did add the tornado possible tag to the Van Buren County storm. So the Van Buren County severe thunderstorm warning does now have that tornado possible tag associated with it. Just as a quick refresher, so while it is not immediately likely, remain alert for a possible tornado, because tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. These severe thunderstorms, as they tracked across northern Indiana and northern Illinois today, had a history of producing tornadoes, producing areas of rotation that were prompting tornado warnings. So please remain alert. Take this seriously. You don't need to be taking tornado precautions yet, but if you spot a tornado, you obviously need to be making your way to a safe place. If there's a tornado warning issued, you obviously need to do the same thing. This is an interesting statement. Intense thunderstorm lines can produce brief tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage. Although a tornado is not immediately likely, it is best to move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. These storms may cause serious injury and significant property damage. That's an interesting statement, given that this is only a 60 mile per hour wind threat. I am going to guess that this little bulletin was included in air, but definitely this portion of this bulletin is a good piece of advice. So that area highlighted in blue there, brief tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage, leave that part out maybe, but brief tornadoes, although a tornado is not immediately likely, it is best to move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. So Berrien County is no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. Van Buren County and Cass County both under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a tornado possible. The Van Buren County warning is in effect until 9 p.m. and this warning here in Cass County is in effect until 8:30 p.m. for about another 10 minutes here. Rhonda, don't see any lightning and I am out in the parking lot, but the clouds are moving quite fast. Yep, that sounds about right. If you look off to your southwest, off towards the lake, you can probably start to see some lightning here any time now. And Aaron wants to know what our CAPE levels are looking like. Yeah, moisture and instability, or what we call storm juice, or CAPE, convective available potential energy, is storm juice, storm fuel, is what is limiting our risk here today. You know, early spring, we typically have a lot of these low CAPE type setups where we don't have a ton of CAPE, but the amount of shear we have, or winds, the changing of winds, their speed and direction with height in the atmosphere, can sometimes overcome that, and that's exactly what we are looking at here this evening. We're really starting to come into a radar hole here where the northern Indiana radar is having a hard time looking at these storms, and the Grand Rapids radar is also having a hard time looking at these storms. So it's going to start to get a little bit tricky to discern areas of concern here, but we are continuing to watch this. And we will do our best to keep you guys informed. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Cass County and Van Buren County in southwest Michigan for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a possible tornado. These severe thunderstorm warnings have that tornado possible tag on them. And again, while that is not an immediately likely hazard, if we look down on the bottom of our screen there, that tornado possible tag means that a storm could produce a tornado at any time with little to no warning. That is one of the negatives of these types of systems. They can have areas of line embedded rotation, or rotation that's embedded within the storms. They can produce tornadoes quite quickly. Wind is cold in Lawton. Yeah, it probably is as this cold front starts to move through the area here. Just had a updated forecast discussion from the Weather Service in Grand Rapids come in that I want to take a look at quickly. This is going to be an aviation update. Showers and storms. Alright, not anything super eye-catching in that aviation discussion, but I wanted to make sure. Owen says the northern periphery of this storm is really starting to fall apart. We'll take a look at that. Yeah, and what he's talking about is this right here. And so this area here, south of South Haven, near Covert, to the northwest of Paw Paw, north of I-94 here, it has a lot less reflectivity presentation than this area does. So we're seeing a lot more of the greens and yellows mixed with a little bit of orange, as compared to the lot of yellow and orange and reds mixed with some pinks here in central Van Buren County, south central Van Buren County, and we do up here in northwest Van Buren County. So that northern periphery, the northern half of this complex of storms is falling apart. Remember, we said these storms are going to be on a weakening trend, and you can see that in action here over the last 20 to 30 minutes or so. As these storms move north, they're really just sort of weakening, and that is largely due to the fact that there is just not as favorable of an environment over here on this side of the lake. And it was much cooler here, much drier here today than it was in Illinois and Indiana. It still is in Illinois and Indiana. And so the environment for the sustainability of severe thunderstorms is just not as favorable. And so and there we had our Cass County severe thunderstorm warning. That was canceled about 5 minutes early. So Cass County, you are in the clear as that starts to weaken there. The storm has weakened below severe limits, so that warning has been canceled early. And we will continue to just keep an eye on this Van Buren County storm here if that starts or if that continues. I would anticipate they will cancel this warning in the next couple of minutes here as well, but we will continue to track it for as long as we need to here. Again, I don't see anything in this storm here that is at all concerning. Maybe some winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour there. Maybe 50 to 60 right near Decatur there, just northeast of Decatur. But other than that, this is falling apart pretty quickly here. The storm's now starting to come into Lawton. So it's approaching M40 there, south of I-94. That's where the most intense part of this storm is as it transitions off to the east. And what is happening is this storm is dying, and so its outflow is just pushing it's like its last ditch effort to produce some gusty winds there. And that is what we're seeing, I think, here with this storm. We're seeing that area of higher wind gusts sort of shrink there. Still above 60. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on this, but I would not be surprised to see them cancel this severe thunderstorm warning if this weakening trend continues over the next couple of scans here. And it did indeed shrink even further on that recent scan as well as weekend. So we may start to be in the clear here, but we're going to continue to track this. Severe thunderstorm warning for Van Buren County that remains in effect until 9 p.m. local time for 60 mile per hour winds and the possibility of a tornado. Hey Owen, I'm just curious if you were on Zello and had any thoughts about this. it's continuing to weaken there as it moves east of Decatur, coming up to M40. Still have that little outflow there that is just continuing to try to produce some winds that are of severe criteria. Maybe a little bit up here towards Breedsville as well. But overall, this is becoming less concerning. Tony, we're in a camper right now. Heavy rain for a minute, but quieting down already. Tony, I assume you were down here in Van Buren County? Nope, we got a little wind report there. 52 mile per hour wind report reported by an automated weather station 1 mile north of Benton Heights, Michigan, there in Berrien County. So the automated weather station here in Benton Harbor recorded a 52 mile per hour wind gust, which is of course below severe criteria, but could have caused some minor damage there in Berrien County. So if you have any damage, definitely let us know. You can throw it at that in the comment section, or you can even send it into our website, which is even better, at westmichiganweather.net/report. And we are still keeping an eye on this severe thunderstorm warning for Van Buren County. Tony said they're in Lawrence, Michigan. Let's find that again. I apologize. Oh, Lawrence, right here in Van Buren County. So that is where Tony is. He was reporting some heavy rain, but that it's quieting down already. So he was just to the north of that area that we were watching near Pawpaw there, approaching M40 east of Decatur, that was showing some higher wind gusts. Thanks to the 100 plus of you who are tuning in. Yeah, of course, Tony. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you guys were able to stay safe. It looked a little hairy there for a minute, but we were able to avoid the worst, I think. So, again, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're following us. Give us a share. Share with your family and friends, but have an awesome night, sir. Appreciate you tuning in. Stay safe. Again, we are live for anyone who is just now tuning in for a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until 9 p.m. local time for Van Buren County in southwest Michigan. Satara, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name there. Satara says that she is in Lawton, Michigan, and that she can hear the wind coming. I would imagine so. We are definitely going to see some wind move into the area there. If you get any wind damage, do let us know. Take a look back at velocity here once again. So this is where Satara is here in Lawton. It looks like that gust front just went through her area. So Elmina and Pine Grove, Matawan, and then into far western Kalamazoo County. You guys are going to be our next group of folks that we're going to be watching here. Again, I would be surprised if that severe thunderstorm warning was continued into Kalamazoo County, but I won't totally rule that out. Here this evening. They did trim off that western extent of the severe thunderstorm warning. So western Van Buren County, you guys are in the clear. The new severe thunderstorm warning is for the eastern half of Van Buren County and includes Pine Grove, Almena, Paw Paw, Lawton, Matawan, and Decatur. That is in effect until 9 p.m. this evening. And this is for 60 mile per hour winds. So they did drop that tornado possible tag off this warning. But 60 mile per hour wind threat continues for Paw Paw, Almena, Decatur, Lawton, Matawan, and perhaps into the portion of Kalamazoo there. And the National Weather Service did just issue a special weather statement there in that flashing brown box for Kalamazoo County. So there is a special weather statement for a strong thunderstorm now in effect for Kalamazoo County, including Kalamazoo, Alamo, Galesburg, Portage, Texas Corners. You guys are now under a special weather statement until 9:30, I believe, is when that'll be in effect until. For the next 54 minutes, so that would be 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. If you're outdoors, consider seeking shelter inside a building. Heavy rain, lightning, thunder, and windy in Paw Paw. Thanks for that report there, Brenda. If you have any wind damage or if you got any little small hail there in Paw Paw, we'd appreciate knowing that as well. Feel free to send that information in the chat here. We definitely would appreciate knowing about that. So again, if you're just now tuning in, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the eastern half of Van Buren County for 60 mile per hour winds up to 60 miles per hour there for Paw Paw, Almena, Pine Grove, Lawton, Matawan, and then this system is moving into Kalamazoo County, so Alamo, Texas Corners, Daughtry's Corner, Oshtemo, Kalamazoo, Portage, Ramona Park, Schoolcraft, Vicksburg. You guys are under a special weather statement for winds up to 50 miles per hour. So that is below severe criteria, but definitely a stronger thunderstorm complex moving into that region. And you could see some winds up to 50 miles per hour as this complex of storms moves into Kalamazoo County. So we're still seeing some winds up over that 50, 60 mile per hour mark, approaching maybe that 70 mile an hour mark. Again, we're looking pretty high up into the storm here at this point. So the odds that these are actually mixing down to the ground at that strength is fairly low, but we did get a 52 mile per hour gust report there in Benton Harbor, and this is that same complex of storms that's transitioning off to the northeast. So we could see some winds approaching that 60 mile per hour mark over the next few minutes. So we will continue to track these until there are no longer any warnings in effect for our coverage area here in West Michigan. And again, those alarms you hear are for tornado warning out of our area there in far southern Indiana. Take a look at reflectivity here as well. So no big concerns with hail, maybe some heavy rain, some heavier rain as these storms move into the area there. Our biggest concern right now is going to be for those possibly damaging wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour, but more than likely they're going to be closer to that 40 or 50 mile per hour mark. One thing we can do while we wait here, let me find a radar site that's far away. Let's turn on, take a look at power outages here. So we did have some power outages occur down here in Cass County. So it looks like we've got probably a single outage there. 2.3% of their customers are without power there in Cass County. So I am going to assume that that is just one outage that is impacting that area there in Cass County here this evening, but some indications that there are some strong to perhaps damaging winds in the area here. So and so the severe thunderstorm warning for Van Buren County has been canceled. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning for Van Buren County is canceled. It was canceled about 15 minutes or so early. The storm which prompted that warning has both moved out of the area and has weakened below severe limits for the portion that is left in that area. Our only threat there now is in Kalamazoo County, where we have this special weather statement in effect until 9:30 p.m. for those winds up to 50 miles an hour. The Weather Service has also canceled all of the marine warnings that were in effect. We do still have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Van Buren, Berrien, Cass, St. Joseph, Kalamazoo, Branch, Hillsdale, Calhoun, and Jackson counties through 1 a.m. Thursday morning. For those of you in Van Buren, Berrien, and Cass counties, you guys are all clear. You're still under that watch, but your severe weather threat for the evening is over. There's nothing else behind you back in the Chicago area that's going to be coming your way. I will turn on reflectivity so that you can see that. Just some rain showers. There are no more thunderstorms coming your way. So if you're in Berrien, Cass, or St. Joseph County, you guys are in the clear for the evening. Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, Branch, Hillsdale, Calhoun, and Jackson, we are still watching the potential for some severe weather or some strong winds to move into that area, but that is becoming less likely as these storms continue to weaken and move into a less favorable environment. Tyler says high winds and heavy rain in Pine Grove. Tyler, when you say high winds, what would you estimate those winds are, and do you have any damage there in Pine Grove? Do you have any trees down or trash cans tipped over, anything like that? And then again, just so I have an idea of where Pine Grove is at, let me look it up here. Pine Grove, Michigan. All right, so Pine Grove is in northern northern Van Buren County, northeastern Van Buren County is where Pine Grove is. So we'll wait to hear from Tyler if there's any damage or anything like that, or if he has an estimate. Savannah wants to know about Marion. Savannah, there is no Marion County in the state of Michigan, and certainly not within our coverage area. I believe there is a Marion Township somewhere. Yeah, Marion Township, Michigan. This is way up here. Over near the I-96 corridor. So there is no severe thunderstorm watch, there's no severe thunderstorm warning, anything like that in effect for Marion Township, and everything is expected to remain is expected to remain well south and west of that area there in Marion Township. Our threat is really coming to an end already. But it is certainly not going to make it over here to Marion Township. So I hope that answers your question there, Savannah. And again, Tyler, if you're still here and you have an estimate as to how high those winds were, or if you have any damage, we'd really appreciate if you could let us know that here in the comments. So we do still have the special weather statement in effect for Kalamazoo County until 9:30 p.m. local time for wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. And we are still seeing those velocities that are indicative of that potential threat. And we're scanning a little bit high in the storm here, so we're seeing some of those stronger winds that are up in the higher levels of the storm that are likely not mixing down to the surface being indicated on radar here, but we could still see some gusts to 40, 50, and maybe 60 miles an hour here in Kalamazoo County, hence the reason for that special weather statement. But I am not seeing anything that is overly concerning for Kalamazoo County there. Tyler Ackerman has a 40 mile per hour estimated wind gust with a trash can tipped over. Tyler, thanks for that report. Could you give me like a street and a cross street there for your location? I know you said you're up here in Pine Grove, but let's say maybe you're on Kalamazoo Street at the intersection of 32nd Street. That would be good information, and we'd be happy to pass that on to the weather service there. Sure, they'd appreciate that report. It helps them decide whether or not to continue warnings and whatnot. Appreciate it, Tyler. Really appreciate that. Thank you. We'll pass that on to the Weather Service. Ranges here on Western Michigan campus. Big gust of wind too. Thanks for that report, Aaron. Right, and then we do have a mesoscale discussion that was issued by the Storm Prediction Center concerning our severe thunderstorm watch here. So hopefully this will load. It's not loading on the SPC website either. That's a little odd. And we do have a new special weather statement that's coming in for southeastern Allegan and Berry counties until 10 p.m. That is going to be for this area here as soon as it pops up. This area in our blue circle here, essentially. There we go. It was a little bit far right there, but new special weather statement in effect until 10 p.m. for Calhoun and portions of Allegan County. This is going to be for wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour as well. again until 10 p.m. this evening as this complex of storms continues to push through the region. Honestly, I'm impressed that the warning or the storm is continuing to allow the 50-mile-per-hour winds to persist as long as it is. There we go. We do have a look at our severe thunderstorm watch and the mesoscale discussion that was just issued concerning that. See if maybe we can pull this up now. Come on. Maybe. Nope, that's for down there. Yeah, we're struggling with our data here. The National Weather Service website is not loading this product. Well, I'll talk about it this way here then. Basically, the damaging wind threat continues across Indiana and southern lower Michigan. The mesoscale discussion really highlights southern Kalamazoo County, southeastern Calhoun County, parts of St. Joseph and Branch County. And the most probable peak intensity for any wind gusts within this area is about 55 to 70 miles an hour, and that's pretty much what we've been seeing. Again, that siren is for this tornado warning down here, which is now gone observed near Columbus, Indiana. So confirmed a tornado near Columbus, Indiana, but locally we're still just looking at these special weather statements here. And honestly, let me pull up our power outage map here on another screen. I haven't seen any power outages in Kalamazoo County with the exception of along M43 west of Daughtry's Corner. So that's going to be in this area here. Right in here there is a little power outage. And that pretty much tracks with that area of stronger velocities that we had been watching that came through right in between Decatur and Paw Paw there. So that tracks, but I have not seen anything since then. So we will stay live here just for a couple of minutes. Christy says that she is in Portage, right near I-94. They're getting some rain and some strong winds. That sounds about right. Did you have any damage there, Christy? I would have to guess probably not, but if you had any damage there, we would of course like to know about it. And we'll probably stay live here for just a couple of minutes. But this is these storms are not going to become severe. 10 to 1, these storms are not going to become severe. They're moving into a less favorable environment. We've seen the wind threat drop from near 70 to now near 50 miles an hour over the last half hour or so. Aaron says that stretch at M43 where the power outage is probably got wind funneled because of the trees all along M43 in West Maine. Yeah, that's possible. I'm not super familiar with where trees are in Kalamazoo County. I'm not from that area, but it's certainly possible that there's a little bit of a wind tunnel effect there along M43. We did have another wind report come in there. So this is from the Department of Transportation from MDOT here in Berrien County. There was a weather station there that measured a 54 mile an hour wind gust, so that's pretty consistent with that report that we got earlier from Berrien County at that automated station there, measuring a 52 mile an hour gust. Yeah, really not seeing anything over 60 now, so that's good news. So it looks like our highest area of winds here is going to be along Galesburg and Richland, perhaps extending up into Orangeville and Prairieville in Allegan County. If you're south of I-94, you're pretty much in the clear as well at this point. Not seeing anything really concerning there. And again, this is just becoming less impressive as time goes on, again, because the environment is not favorable. The environment here is not favorable for the development of severe weather or the sustainment of severe weather. And that would seem to track with the latest update to the Storm Prediction Center outlook. Let's pull that up really quickly here. Let me turn off alerts and pull up their latest day one convective outlook, and I will crank the opacity here. So they have really quite significantly trimmed back the risk here. The only areas that remain in this slight level 2 out of 5 in the yellow shading here are going to be the far southern portions of Berrien County, really the extreme southeastern portion of Berrien County there, southern Cass County, southern St. Joseph County, and into southwestern Branch and Hillsdale counties. So that's where that level 2 out of 5 slight risk is at. And the remainder of the area does remain in that marginal level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. But thankfully, the broader slight risk area has been trimmed back, and of course it's going to be finicky now. going to start showing what we were looking at earlier. There we go. So that is our updated SBC outlook. We've seen a large reduction in the slight risk area. It no longer extends up into portions of Van Buren and Kalamazoo counties. It just includes the US 12 corridor there, really, including Three Rivers, Penn, Niles, Sturgis, Nottawa, Bronson, and maybe the southeastern or southwestern corner of Coldwater there, excuse me. The tornado risk has been reduced as well. The 5% region has been completely removed from the area. So we just now have a 2 to 4% risk for severe or for a tornado within 25 miles of a point. That does include the vast majority of the I-94 corridor there south of Kalamazoo. Again, if you're west of US 131 at this point, you're in the clear. If you're west of US 131, even though you're in this risk area still, you guys are in the clear. There's not going to be any more severe weather there this evening. In terms of wind, we do still have that area that was in that slight risk level 2 out of 5. You guys are still in that 15 to 29% chance. But if you are west of US 131, which is right here, that's this blue line right here. If you're anywhere over here, you guys are in the clear for this evening. If you're east of that, so if you're in Coldwater, especially Marshall, you guys should still be paying attention to the weather for the next hour or so here. And our large hail risk remains largely unchanged. In fact, this is the old large hail risk. But I would anticipate this has been dropped completely. But I will take a look at that here quickly before we end our live stream. Let me turn this off. All right. So there's a new special weather statement for the extreme southeastern sliver of Hillsdale County, as well as the southeastern corner of Branch County. There's a special weather statement now in effect there for the next about 1 hour or so until 10 p.m. this evening for wind gusts of 50 to 55 miles per hour. Again, there is the fact that they're not putting severe thunderstorm warnings on these just shows that these are becoming messy. They're becoming outflow dominant. It's just going to be a lot of rain and some gusty winds moving into those areas. Our greater severe threat is still well off to our south here, across portions of Indiana and into Kentucky there. So, whoa, hello. How did that happen? So the severe threat here is largely over. We could still see some gusty winds in these brown polygons here over the next little bit, but I really don't have a lot of concerns at this point. Lost power near Merson Corners at 8:58. Nicole, do you have any damage there? And where is Merson Corners? I'm just going to say this. Yeah, so that's in far southern Allegan County there, right on M40. Assume is where you're talking about with Merson Corners. That tracks. There was an area of gusty winds that moved through that area. If you have any wind damage, we'd love to know about that. But we're probably going to be wrapping up our stream here shortly. just because, again, the severe threat is coming to an end. So. So while we wait to hear from Nicole, if she has any reports there near Marson Corners, if we wrap up our stream and you guys get hit in Kalamazoo or Allegan or Calhoun counties, and you guys want to let us know, you can of course send those to us on any of our social media platforms, any of the comment sections on our social media platforms. We'll get notified for that. The best thing you can do is go to our website, westmichiganweather.net /report. westmichiganweather.net /report. I'll throw that in chat for you guys right now. That is the best place that you can send us a report. There's a form there that you can fill out with your location and the time and what type of event, and then we get notified for that, and it gets added to a map eventually when we have some time, and that's how we will track all of the weather reports that we get from our coverage area this year. So we're already up to about 70 reports, if memory serves me correctly, and we're only in March, so that's awesome to see. Starting to get maybe some rain up here near our headquarters. Headquarters is right in this area, right on 131 there. We're starting to get some rain, maybe some lightning. Could definitely use a good lightning show. Just heavy rain and wind, don't see any damage yet. Nicole, thanks for letting us know. Of course, if that changes, you can use that link or let us know here in the comments. Even after our stream ends, you should be able to comment on it. If not, find one of the posts on our social media here on Facebook and just leave it on a comment section on any of those posts. That works as well. We do appreciate that. And I'm not seeing anything on radar that is immediately concerning. We'll take a look at velocity here as well. Preferably not from northern Indiana. And yeah, this is pretty lackluster. Maybe some gusty winds for southern Allegan County. Maybe. Oh, okay, yeah, no, never mind. Maybe get a gust of 40 to 50 miles an hour there, approaching the M37 corridor, west of Prairieville, or east of Prairieville, excuse me, there in Allegan County, south of Hastings. Other than that, I don't see anything that is overly concerning. Again, maybe Kinderhook there along I-69 in Branch County, Alganese, maybe Reading in Hillsdale County in a few minutes. You could see some gusty winds, but these are weakening. So I think that that link in chat will suffice, or you can, of course, leave comments. If for whatever reason there was another severe thunderstorm warning issue, I would jump back in and go live again, but not seeing anything that indicates a continued severe weather threat here in Michigan, so we are probably going to wrap it up. We do appreciate everybody tuning in this evening. If you guys are still in those watches or special weather statements there, so these pink boxes with the exception of Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren County, you guys are clear. Berrien, Cass, Van Buren County, you guys are in a pink box, but you guys are clear. All right, you guys are west of 131. You guys are in the clear. If you're in these pink boxes in Jackson, Hillsdale, Branch, St. Joseph, Calhoun, or Kalamazoo County, or if you're in these brown boxes in Allegan, Kalamazoo, or Calhoun County, and the southeastern corner of Branch County here, remain alert for just a little bit longer. But the severe threat here in Michigan is pretty much over. I mean, taking a look at some surface observations, the dew points in this area, these are those green numbers. So the green numbers on all these little weather stations are in the 40s. Okay, at a minimum for severe weather, we want to see 50s at a minimum. These 40s dews, these low 40s dews are not going to do it. So I feel pretty comfortable wrapping up our stream here. But of course, we'll continue to keep an eye on things over the next little bit, and we'll keep you informed. But that is about what I'm seeing. So we appreciate you all tuning in this evening. Stay safe, stay weather aware. Keep checking in for updates on Severe Weather Awareness Week, which continues through Saturday. And of course, we're always educating on severe weather throughout the summer. So make sure you're giving us a follow on whatever social media platform you're tuning in on. Share, repost, help us get the word out. Help us expand that follower base. Again, we don't do this for the number of followers we have or whatever. Our biggest goal here is to spread awareness, and we can only do that if we get out to a significant number of people. And the best way for you to help us do that is to interact with our social media posts. So like, share, comment, all those things help the algorithm get that word